I know you're nervous, but I won't let you fall. I couldn't blame you for putting yourself first. To get started with the chords, we're going to be using the main 4 pop chords in the key of C, as well as a D7 chord, but there's going to be a couple of variations for each of the chords throughout the song. So to start out with the C major, we're going to have our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A, middle on the 2nd fret of the D, and pointer on the 1st fret of the B. Next is going to be an A minor chord, which is going to have an open A, middle and ring on the 2nd fret of the D and the G, and pointer on the 1st of the B. Next will be an F chord. You can either play the bar or the F over C type of shape. The F bar is going to have your pointer finger barring the 1st fret of the low E and the high B and E strings. Then your ring and pinky are going to be on the 3rd fret of the A and the D strings. And your middle finger will be on the 2nd fret of the G. The F over C shape is going to have your thumb come over and play the 1st fret of the low E. Then you're going to have your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the D, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G, and pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B. Next will be a G shape. You can either play it like this or in the bar shape. The standard G will have your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A, and pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E. You can also play this as a G suspended by putting your pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B. The bar shape is going to take your F bar shape and just slide it up 2 frets. Pretty simple. And last but not least is the D7, which is going to have an open D string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G, pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B, and ring finger on the 2nd fret of the high E. You guys heard the intro riff in the intro of this video, so we're going to get right into it. I'm going to split the teaching up into 4 sections. The first will sound like this. The second, the third, and the fourth. The first section will start on your C major chord, but you're going to place your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. You're going to have your pointer, middle, and ring fingers on the high 3 strings, and your thumb will be on the root of the chord on the A string. You're going to start by plucking with your thumb and your ring at the same time. Then thumb alone, and then ring alone, and as you do pluck with your ring finger, you're going to do a pull off with your pinky. And as you do that, you're going to strike with your thumb again. So when you play the open E, you're going to strike with your thumb. And then all together, then thumb, then ring, and then thumb again. Now super slow like that doesn't make much sense, but if you speed it up just a little bit, you can hear the actual flow of the riff, which will sound like this. Now this is a pretty complicated riff, so just practice these individual sections until you can get them up to speed, and then you can put them all together. The second section is going to be pretty similar. We're going to take our C and move it to a G suspended shape with our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B, and then also our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B, so we can do a pull off. With our thumb on the low E and our middle finger on the B string, we're going to strike those together, then thumb alone, then middle, and with that we're going to do a pull off. But as we do a pull off, same as before, we're going to strike with our thumb on the 2nd half, so it'll sound like this. Now we're going to strike thumb and middle together. Now place your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B, strike again, and then strike thumb and ring finger on the low E and high E. So all together slowly. Moving into the third section with an F over C shape, we're going to have our ring finger, 3rd fret of the D, middle finger, 2nd fret of the G, and pointer finger will either be on the 1st fret of the B or the 1st fret of the high E. It's going to start off on the 1st fret of the high E. Now we're going to have our thumb on the D string and our ring finger on the high E. We're going to strike together, then thumb, then ring finger, and we're going to do the same pull off and then hit with our thumb as before. Then thumb and ring together, then thumb, then ring, and then thumb. Really similar to on the C, it'll sound better if you speed it up a little bit. Now you're going to going to place your pointer on the first fret of the B string. You're going to strike with your thumb and pointer, then thumb, then ring on the open high E, then thumb, and now you're going to do a little pull off riff down. So you're going to start with your pointer finger on the first fret of the high E. You're going to strike with your thumb and your ring and do a pull off. Now you're going to place your pinky on the third fret of the B and your pointer on the first fret of the B behind it, and strike with your thumb in middle again to pull off to the first fret. So only that final riff will sound like this. So in the second half on the F will sound like this. So now the whole third section slowly, feel free to play along with it. The first half of section 4 will sound exactly the same as section 3. But then we're going to place our pointer finger back on the first fret of the high E, and we're going to strike with our thumb and our ring finger. Then thumb, then we'll play an open high E, then thumb, then pinky will go onto the third fret of the high B, we'll pluck with our thumb in our middle, then thumb, and then we'll play the first fret of the B with our pointer. So that second half of section 4 will sound like this. So now all of section 4 together. Now I know if you got this far, this is a really tough riff to learn, but I encourage you guys, keep working at it, especially slowly. Go through each individual section, play through it slowly, and then work up the tempo just a little bit, and then you can put them all together and play along with this section where I play the entire thing, and you can get it down, I promise. So what I just played for you guys will be exactly how you play the intro, which will be section 1, section 2, and section 3, followed by section 1, section 2, and section 4. But within the verses, you'll only be playing that second line, section 1, section 2, and section 4. So with lyrics, it'll sound like this. It's been 6 weeks since we said our goodbyes, but I can't forget what was. So excuse the mess I made when you were mine. I'm still learning how to love. And that'll take us straight into the chorus, which will sound a little like this. So for example, on the F, you can hear your thumb striking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you can hear your ring finger on the high E striking on the 1 and the and of 2. So 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. So you can hear that within the chord. 1 and 1 and. And then when you put that thumb and that ring finger together, slowly it'll sound like this. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. And then every other cycle, you can add your pointer or middle that will play along with your ring finger, which will sound like this. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. So now that you guys know the picking pattern, we can introduce the chords, which will start in an F bar. It will slide up to a G bar shape. And the next few chords are going to have a walking bass pattern. We're going to start with our C shape, and we're going to put our pinky on the third fret of the high E. And then we're going to pull off our ring finger. We're going to place our middle finger on the second fret of the A, keep everything else the same. This is a G over B suspended. We're next going to move, we're going to take our A minor, place our pinky on the third fret, and pull off our ring finger to make an A minor 7 with that pinky still there. Next we're going to move to a G suspended, which will be our normal G with our pointer finger on the first fret of the B. And then back to our F bar. So that first line all together will sound like this. The second line will start out the same. We'll go from our F to G, and we'll walk down from C. Once we get to our G, we're going to move to a D7. Now to F. But instead of sliding to G, we're going to take this new G shape, which will take a D, but slide it up 5 frets so that our middle finger is on the 7th fret of the high E, our pointer finger is on the 7th fret of the G, and our ring finger is on the 8th fret of the B. So from the F, we'll just pluck with the high 3 strings, and then we'll go back into the main riff. So now with lyrics, the chorus will sound like this. I know you're nervous, but I won't let you fall. And we weren't perfect, but you were worth it all. D7. If it were my call, I'd do it all again. So after playing the modified G shape, you're going to go back into playing the intro riff, but since we're in the post-chorus, we're going to play it slightly altered so we can do the little tag. So we'll start off the same. To the F, but then go back to the G shape. I do it all again, right back into verse 2. So I do it all again. I do it all again. I'm not yet used. Back into verse 2. We're going to switch it up a little bit in the bridge by adding a strumming pattern that'll go down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And we'll go from an A minor to a C to an F to a G, A minor to C to F to G, and then we'll end on our little modified G shape. So with lyrics, it'll sound like this. I couldn't blame you for putting yourself first. And I'm not afraid to say something first, even if it hurts. I need you to know. And right there, we're going to play a modified G again. It's going to be a G suspended by placing our pinky on the 8th fret instead of the normal one. Then moving into the final chorus, we're just going to play and let ring each chord. I know you're nervous, but I won't let you fall. And we weren't perfect, but you were. Repeats. I know you're nervous, but I won't let you fall. And then you'll play through the end of the chorus, and then you repeat the tag a couple times before ending on your C with your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E. And now you should know how to play the entire song. So, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. I'd really appreciate that. And go ahead and subscribe down below to get notified about new content just like this on Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. If you want to check out my original music, it'll be a playlist in that top right corner. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you later.